Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Journey to Greatness, day 165. Sorry, day 160 of 365 with David McDonald, the GOAT. Happy Sunday. Alrighty, let's get to this meditation. I will see you guys on the other side. Alrighty, welcome back, guys and gals. Good morning, Mr. Hopkins. Good morning. Good morning, Liz. Good morning, Jack Beer. All right. So let's get back to the reading routine here. We're coming to the final laps of the journey of Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. It's been a pretty amazing book so far. So if you haven't read it, I highly suggest it. All right, so let's keep jamming. I'll see you guys on the other side. Jesus, that's crazy. Wow. All right. I think we should be done with this book by Friday. I think I can get it done by Friday. So let's see how that takes us. That's our reading routine is now complete. We're going to get into our journaling routine. And with this, I like to start off by writing about what I'm most grateful for. And in the morning, that's waking up and being in exceptional health. And then I go back to yesterday's activities and I show my gratitude and gratefulness through that by making mention and recognizing exactly, what I liked about yesterday, what I wish to change about yesterday. And then moving forward, not dwelling in that space for too long, I start to project and manifest what I wish to have happen today and for the days to come. So with that, I'll see you guys on the other side. All right. Powerful stuff. Powerful stuff. Happy Sunday, everybody. Happy Sunday. Okay. So right now we're in the final chapter, in the final leg race of this book, and we're talking about the 6 ghosts of fear. Excuse me. So the last couple of days we've been talking about the fear of poverty, and then we talked about some of the symptoms of having the fears of poverty and how it can hold you back, and how it's a destruction. It's a destruction, and how the fear of poverty can be very destructive in your life and in our lives. Now the next one is, the fear of criticism. And so the book pretty much introduces the idea of this fear of criticism. Criticism came from a time when fashion and keeping up with the Joneses became a more prevalent and relevant term. So people, the one thing that the book suggests, the way I interpret it, is that if there's one thing that people like to do, it's like they like to compare themselves to other people, which in my mind, it can be very, very destructive if you're not doing it in a mindful way. I personally think it's unhealthy just entirely. If you just pay attention to what you're doing, and just more so appreciate and learn from how other people operate, then we might find ourselves in a better place as a society. But nonetheless, the fear of criticism is the fear of doing something. Well, actually, it tells us here. So I'll just talk about that. So it talks about their symptoms of the fear of criticism. And one's nearest relatives often are the worst offenders. It should be recognized as a crime for any parent to build inferiority complexes in the mind of a child through unnecessary criticism. Employers who understand human nature get the best there is in men, not by criticism, but by constructive suggestion. Parents may accomplish the same results with their children. Criticism will plant fear in the human heart or resentment, but it will not build love or affection. And so our parents and people around us, family members, can be the biggest criticizers. The one I hear a lot is, just family members putting pressure on people. You see, the way I look at it is like this. Depending on the circumstances, we don't always have to be around. If you know in your deepest heart that you care for your family, and that you're grinding every day to build an empire for them, whether you die and achieve it or not, doesn't matter. Your intentions are there. And I feel like sometimes family members can be a little bit unreasonable with their expectations of you. It's kind of like when somebody invites you out, to do something. It's like you have an option to choose. Just because you don't attend, just because you're not there, doesn't mean that you don't care, right? It's depending on what it is. Maybe you just choose not to go because that's what's in the best interest for you. And to be quite frank, whatever that explanation is, at the end of the day, I think that as people and as humans, it's a good practice not to be judging other people to begin with. So if you have a high value on something that's very important to you and somebody else doesn't meet the mark for you that you expected to meet the mark, no judgment. You just continue to love them and love them from a distance. You're not hurt by it in terms of them being there or not being there, right? Necessarily. And I mean, obviously there's a million different reasons, I'm sure, or a million different ways out there with that. Well, what I just said wouldn't be true. Like, for example, like your mom showing up to your wedding or your dad showing up to your wedding, right? Some things are just unexcusable. But, it's just kind of like, it is what it is. Like, what are you going to do? You wish to have them there, but if they didn't show up, then that's on them. At the end of the day, that is on them. And it has everything to do with you. But to live from that perspective of just understanding, like, okay, well, you know, what can you do? I guess you can't be upset about it. You could be upset about it. You could be disappointed about it. But at the end, the real day, it's like, what is that anger? What is that frustration really going to bring to you and your soul and everything that you're operating around, you know? And I think that interesting, right? Interesting for me to say it, to even think it out loud. But the idea here is like, wow, that's crazy. Your parents weren't at your wedding. You're not mad at them. That's crazy, right? Well, it's the same way as being happy and not having $1 million or not having money, period, and just finding happiness in that. Oh, you're crazy. How could you be happy? You don't have no money. Same thing, you see? So it just depends, you know, how you interpret things and how you look at life. But at the end of the day, I think the biggest thing that this chapter is talking about is, you know, we can hear it a lot from our family members. So self-consciousness is one of the symptoms of fear of criticism, generally expressed through nervousness, timidity, and in conversation and in meeting strangers, awkward movement of the hands and limbs, shifting of the eyes. These are all symptoms of the fear of criticism. Lack of poise, expressed through lack of voice control, nervousness in the presence of others, poor posture of body, and poor memory. Personality, lacking in firmness of decision, personal charm, and ability to express opinions definitely. The habit of sidestepping issues instead of meeting them squarely, agreeing with others without careful examination of their opinions. Inferiority complex, the habit of expressing self-approval by word of mouth and by actions as means of covering up the feeling of inferiority. Using big words to impress others, imitating others in dress, speech, and manners, boasting of imaginary achievements. This sometimes gives a surface appearance of feeling of superiority. Extravagance, the habit of trying to keep up with the Joneses, spending beyond one's income, lack of initiative, failure to embrace opportunities for self-advancement, fear to express opinions, lack of confidence in one's ideas, giving evasive answers to questions asked by superiors, hesitancy of manner and speech, deceit in both words and deeds, lack of ambition, mental and physical laziness, lack of self-assertion, slowness in reaching decisions, easily influenced by others, the habit of criticizing others behind their backs and flattering them to their faces. R.I.P. Moment of silence. The habit of accepting defeat without protest, quitting an undertaking when opposed by others, suspicious of other people without cause, lacking in tactfulness of manner and speech, unwillingness to accept the blame for mistakes. Those are all the symptoms of the fear of criticism. Criticism is a beautiful thing. And if you can find people around you who are honest with you and tell you how you are acting or give you reflection on how you're acting, those are people you want to keep around you because they're not fearful to let you know how it is. Now, this is a very interesting part. So yesterday we were talking about was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. Yesterday we were talking about being sick, the fear of I think at one point or another, we were talking about the fear of being sick and how we don't. Hey there, good morning. We were talking about the fear of getting sick, but even if we were on our deathbeds, that mentally we wouldn't fold to the idea that we were actually sick. And this book just talks about this. So the next fear that we got into was the fear of ill health. And then check this out. A reputable physician estimated that 75% of people who visit physicians for professional services are suffering from hypochondria, imaginary illness. It has been shown most convincingly that the fear of disease, even where there is not the slightest cause for fear, often produces the physical symptoms of disease feared. Powerful and mighty is the human mind. It builds or it destroys. Playing upon the common weakness of fear of ill health, dispensers of patent medicines have reaped fortunes. Pharmaceutical companies all across the world have made tons of money, billions and billions and billions of dollars through the fear of illness. They've capitalized on that fear. And we were talking about that yesterday. I think it was yesterday or the day before, about how America is really successful because it builds a lot of its philosophies around fear. Or if you look at the news, a lot of it's emotionally driven by fear. And so when that disruption comes upon the minds of the American people, it's a lot easier for them to control and manipulate and just help us make decisions based off our emotional feeling. They got it down packed, and it's beautiful. Whether for bad for worse, beautiful. During the flu epidemic, which broke out during World War, the mayor of New York City took drastic steps to check the damage which people were doing themselves through their inherent fear of illness. He called the newspapermen and said to them, "Gentlemen, I feel it necessary to ask you not to publish any scare headlines concerning the flu epidemic. Unless you cooperate with me, we will have a situation which we cannot control." The newspapers quit publishing stories about the flu, and within 1 month, the epidemic had been successfully checked. Crazy. I'll leave it at that, man. The mind's a powerful thing to waste, and it's a powerful thing to use in a negative way. But I mean that's fire right there. So what you might ask, oh, well, how do you not get sick throughout the year? Well, that's a great question. I can't say I take vitamins every day, but I would say take vitamins every day. Vitamin C, get your multivitamins every day. I think the number one thing of not getting sick is, making sure that you wear a scarf when you go outside. Simple, I think this is super basic, but it's super, like, I'm telling you, I did not get sick last year or the year before. Like, I haven't missed work. I've worked every single day that I've wanted to, and I've never taken a day off because I was sick. And wearing a scarf, making sure I'm double layered at all time. So, protecting the primary body. So the way that the energy of the body works is, your body will always make an emphasis to keep the center part of your body the warmest. So that's why you lose warmth in your hands and your feet first, because all that blood and that energy runs to the central system to keep all of this closed. So, or all of this warm, right? If it's like, for example, if I go outside like this and it's super cold, then the rest of my body is going to go cold, yes, but this portion of my body is going to get is going to be a little bit warmer than everything else. And so if you can keep this, pretty much your entire upper body, very, very warm, you'll not only protect yourself from arthritis, which I think is real, and B, from your fingers and your feet. But B, you'll keep the center part of your body warm, and so you won't lose all of that energy and warmth in the other parts of your bodies as quickly. And when you keep this closed and you keep your neck, your chest, when you keep your chest protected and the back protected, and your neck protected, there's not really you can't get sick through your calf, right? You can't get sick through your bicep or your hands, at least I don't know that you can. And so if you just do those simple things, and if you feel an itch coming on, I'll eat a Hall. Like, I'll eat 1 Hall or like 2 Halls, cough drops, throat lozenges, and good as gold. So with that, the mind is the mind can build. The mind is a powerful thing. It can build and it can destroy. So happy Sunday, everybody. Thank you for joining me Thank you for joining me today for day 160 at 365, the journey to greatness with David McDonald, the GOAT. And I will. Did I say 160? Oh, yeah, 365. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you to everybody who jumped on the messenger board. I appreciate you guys. Good morning. Good morning. Have the best day of your life. I know I will. And I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.